tulipatana na huyu mrembo. Na yeye alikuwa manager. Sasa nikifika chipo hapo, na yeye anateremka hapo anachota maji na muona.
Nikuanga anakuja ananiambia nimchagulie njae na mchagulia kilo 10.
Baba yake alimuita akamuuliza, huyu ndiye? Sikuwa na suti na yeye hakuwa na neti. Hapana. Yetu tulifanya Sunday, mikono ilishikwa hivi, ikainuliwa hivi.
Hamna pete, saizo
hata pete hakuna. Nasema asante kwa kunipenda. Mungu akubariki mpenzi wangu.
Vipuli na nguo na viatu zinafanana. Unafikiria niliingia huku nikafunga macho? Nilifungua. Na sasa hivi tumeingia. Unaniambia iko tayari. Sasa tukae hapa tugoje paka zivi.
Ulikuwa unajua mimi nakuja lunch?
Si ndio?
Alafu ikakuwa namna gani?
Na sisi tumeingia nawe pamoja.
Who's that responsibility ni ya nani? Ni yako ama ni yangu? Wewe unatoka tu namna hivyo na kwenda tu. Ujali?
Kila kitu.
Nipiga gari moto huko nikuje hapa. Niko na pesa ya kupoteza. Chapa ukule chakula yangu vile unaweza kukula wewe.
Ndio.
Huyu ni nani?
Mimi ni mpigaji picha.
Mpaka ya mbusu.
Thank you for staying with us. You are watching Biz Check, and this is the second hour of Business Check. Previously hour we've been talking about the pre-budget analysis of the 2025-2026 budget. Now in this hour we'll be talking about fighting anti-counterfeit and also curbing substandard goods in the country. But before we go into that conversation, we'll head straight to Homa Bay, where hundreds of hikers and bikers drawn from Kakamega and Homa Bay counties are this year's participants of the Tourism Western Circuit, dubbed Magharibi Trails. And we are joined by our reporter, Regina Manyara, right there on your screen. Regina, maybe you can update us on the tourism circuit that is happening in Kakamega.
Thank you very much, Carol. Good morning to you back in Nairobi. We are deep in the western part of Kenya. I would say this is the area that is blessed with great beauty as well as mystery. We are coming to you live from the Kakamega Forest National Reserve, and this is just part of the Western Circuit series that has been dubbed Magharibi Trails, that is seeking to tap into the untapped areas of the country, focusing on both domestic and international tourists who are keen on just not the wildlife, but also a bit of adventure. Think tourism, think hiking, think biking, as well as bird watching. This particular forest, Caroline, as well as those who are watching back at home, is a home to a rare species. I would call it, or rather we refer to it as a blue Turako. It's one of the birds that among bird watchers, they come to the Kakamega Forest to have a view of this rare bird. It's only found here in Kakamega Forest. This is part of an initiative that is being driven by marketing agency Kenya Tourism Board as Kenya shifts towards tourism diversification to bring in a bit of sports and adventure. Remember, Kenya is working at having, or rather hosting, 5 million tourists by the year 2028. Currently, the numbers stand at around 2.4 million. And this target of 5 million is going to be actually gotten into by tourism diversification. In not too long, we are going to be speaking to the senior warden here, who is going to give us a brief on exactly the role that the Kenya Wildlife Service is playing to ensure that this kind of trails are actually taken up, and Kenyans as well as international tourists get to know that even within the Western Circuit, they are tourism adventures where they can come, relax, and also enjoy a bit of nature. Join me, Senior Warden Karen. Good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning.
So why would one leave the comfort of their home to actually come to Kakamega Forest?
I think this is one of the places that
Yes,
please
proceed.
This is one of the places which is very, very attractive in Kenya, and it's actually, I think it's been forgotten for a long time. But we're really happy that KTB, we are partnering with KTB in this trail safaris to ensure that the western part of Kenya is open. And it's not just the big five that we always go and watch in the national parks. We also have other unique things in this part of the country. Like in Kakamega Forest, we have walking safaris. If you're a bird watcher that you love to watch birds, we have several types of birds here. If you're a snake lover, if you're a butterfly lover, we have all those kind of species around here. So we encourage people to come and just watch the nature, the beauty of this place, the way it is, the canopy of beauty. The forest is as intact as much as possible, not just the lions and elephants and rhinos, at least have something different.
All right. That is Senior Warden Karen there, just telling us, other than the big five, that the Kakamega Forest has a lot to offer, especially if you are into bird watching and also a snake lover. This is a place to be. I hand it back to you, Caroline Njenga, back in Broadcasting House, Nairobi.
Thank you, Regina, for that. We now head over to the Blue Economy Conference, where our reporter Achola Simon is on standby. The conference kicked off yesterday and has been talking about our waters, our wealth. Over to you, Achola Simon, with an update on the Blue Economy Conference, as well as other emerging areas in the Blue Economy sector. Now, we'll be linking up with Achola Simon later on this broadcast, but thank you for still staying with us on Business Check. My director is telling me he's ready. Achola Simon, are you ready to update us with the latest when it comes to the Blue Economy Conference?
Well, Karo Njenga, thank you very much indeed. We are in Homa Bay County. They've dubbed it the County of Endless Potential. And of course, we are attending and casting our eyes on the precursor to the Madaraka Day celebration. And Homa Bay County has actually organized a pre-conference where various organizations, both non and governmental organizations, are actually gathering here at Tom Mboya University in Homa Bay County just to showcase what they're doing. And more importantly, as we move towards this year's Madaraka Day celebration, the theme, of course, being our water, our wealth. And there's no better organization that can actually discuss the issues or the wealth in waters than Maritime Authority, the Kenya Maritime Authority. And of course, we are here with one official here who will be discussing the need to actually the need to ensure safety in our waters, even as we go out there to exploit the endless potential in our large water body masses across the country. Senteo, welcome. One of the key issues that we will be discussing, of course, as we try to exploit the massive potential in our lakes or in our large water body masses is actually the safety. How safe is our waters in the country?
Thank you very much. Kenya Maritime Authority, as you know, is a regulator in the maritime industry in Kenya. And as much as we encourage our citizens to exploit the large water resources that we have, we want them to exploit them safely. Okay, so it's actually required for any operator of a vessel to have life-saving appliances. What I'm talking about is like a life jacket that I'm wearing right now, okay, which is the bare minimum that you require. And anyone...
The analogy of gospel. This gospel has been sung over the analogy of gospel. This gospel has been sung over the years, and still people continue to sin. And in this aspect, I'm talking about the number of people that continue to lose their lives in the lake. It is approximated that approximately 1,200 people actually fishermen drown in the lake each year. We are talking about 5,000 people actually losing their lives each year in terms of just accidents, fishermen who are actually going into the lake drowning, and very many other things. Why is it that Kenyans, and of course those that are actually using the lake, are not heeding this call?
As much as we try to sing the gospel, as you say, we also need to enforce it. Okay, so we work with other state agencies like the Coast Guard, the fisheries, to try and enforce the regulation that you must, when you're going into this water, wear a life jacket because you don't know what will happen. Okay, so and every time KMA does what you call surveys on small vessels. We register and survey small vessels. So every time we come and do surveys, and license the small vessels, we ensure first things what the operator have, the life-saving appliances. Okay, so after our surveys, we usually carry out enforcements in conjunction with the Coast Guard. So that is where we try and force this issue, because we tell people, 1 minute you'll think we're harassing you about this, but the next minute you're the ones telling us that somebody drowned, and we don't like that. We don't want to hear that. So it is both enforcement, it is both stakeholder engagement, and it is both public and private partnership, because people have to understand that.
Talking about survey of the vessels that are actually operating in the lake, how safe are they? We have actually seen people around the lake going out there looking for wood and actually coming up and with their small vessels, and the next day they're actually into the lake. So the question then is that how safe are they, and how do you ensure that you actually follow up to ensure that each and every vessel that actually gets into the lake is actually up to the required standards in terms of operation?
Okay, Kenya Maritime regulates the boat building industry. Okay, so what we did, we mapped the last financial year and the previous one. We mapped out all the boat builders in the country, including the lake regions. So we ensured that they build to the standards. So you'll find that the boat builders that are certified by us, we have seen how they build it. We have certified their standards. We have professional naval architects who do that.
Fantastic. The next question then is that the response in terms of if there's a calamity or an accident in the lake, how quickly can actually respond? And understand that under the Lake Basin Commission and of course the partner states around Lake Victoria, there's something that is actually coming up, the Maritime Rescue Center. How far is it in terms of just ensuring that its completion, and how long is it likely to start operation?
Okay, the Lake Victoria Maritime Rescue Center is a 3-year project that was started this financial year by KMA and is expected to be completed within 3 years. It will include having 3 fast rescue watercrafts that will be able to be launched at any time from the first center is in Kisumu. That's when we started. There'll still be one in Homa Bay, there'll be one on the other side in Siaya. We will have crafts that will be able to reach anywhere in our lake within an hour. Currently, we have one of the crafts coming in by the end of this financial year in June, and the second one is hopefully will be coming by the end of this calendar year in December. So on the progress of the center, I'd say we're about 20% in, but it's a 3-year project. We expect it to be done by then.
Thank you very much. That is Senteo, an officer at the Kenya Maritime Authority, of course, giving us an update of exactly what is happening in terms of just ensuring that our lakes are actually safe, actually exploiting the lake, and other large body water masses can actually exploit it to its potential. But Njenga, one other thing that we'll be asking ourselves is that after the safety, the next thing is that to ensure that we actually exploit the resources that are actually into the lake. And the question that we've always asked ourselves is that when you are exploiting, when you are given fish, how far do you go about it in terms of exploitation? And we'll just have a look here at the fish that is actually available, and to see, because usually fish, you'll just do probably 40% of it, and the rest of what actually is thrown away. The question that we keep asking ourselves is pretty simple: is what else can we derive fish from the lake? Who will actually, from Kemfree, will actually give us a brief of exactly what more you can actually derive.
We apologize for the technical hitch with our sound. Achola We'll be getting back to you during our lunchtime news as you take us through the various areas that the conference is handling. That is the Blue Economy Conference, talking about exploiting the massive potential of our large water bodies and also talking about how safe are our waters. Now we come back to our studio, and as had earlier on indicated, we're talking about fighting corruption, anti-counterfeit. And today we'll be looking at this economic killer, counterfeit goods, from fake pharmaceutical to electronics to counterfeit alcohol and consumer products, as the Kenyan market is flooded with imitations that not only rob the economy in billions of revenue, but also endanger and undermine genuine innovation. And to speak to that, I'm joined by Mr. Yusuf Ahmed, who is the Director of Enforcement at Anti-Counterfeit Authority. Thank you for coming to our studios.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, kicking off from looking at Kenya is said to be flooded with counterfeit goods at all levels of consumption. What is the situation from where you sit?
Thank you, Remo. I want to just assure the public and the Kenyans that Kenya is safe, despite the fact that the perception of people outside there that the counterfeit is flooding the market. We as Anti-Counterfeit Authority established an Anti-Counterfeit Act 2008 and operationalized in 2010. We have up to the task, and we have done tremendous work in terms of ensuring that the consumers are getting the rightful products. However, what I want to acknowledge is that counterfeit issue is a global issue. So we might be able to find counterfeit goods in the market, but the perception that it has been flooded might not be accurate enough.
Okay.
We are also approaching the issue of counterfeiting not only as an anti-counterfeit authority, but as a multi-agency approach. So quite a number of entities are working closely with us to ensure that there is no counterfeit goods in the market.
Okay.
Yes.
And we'll come to the multi-agency approach.
Yes.
But what is the estimated annual economic loss due to counterfeit goods in Kenya?
In Kenya, I think we are approximating around 120 billion Kenya shillings. That is estimated to be the loss in terms of the economy, which is a huge amount of money.
Is this annually?
Definitely, it's an annual, it's an annual estimate. But globally, I think from the reports of OECD, there is quite a number of trillions that are lost across the globe in terms of issues of counterfeiting. And if you look at the spectrum of counterfeiting aspect, you will find that counterfeiting is an organized crime which is transnational and quite complex in terms of the people who are dealing with it. So I think Kenya as a country, we have made a step in terms of the establishment of a unique institution like Anti-Counterfeit Authority, which is not found in Africa. It is a unique institution that was established to fight counterfeit, and it is only found in South Africa and also in Kenya. So we are a step ahead in terms of our legislative framework. We are a step ahead in terms of the operations. We are a step ahead in terms of fighting counterfeit. But since it's a global issue, we are able to appreciate that the effort that has been done up to now is quite commendable.
Okay.
Yes.
You're saying it's a global issue.
Yes.
And also globally, Kenya prides itself as a global and regional IP, that is intellectual property enforcer leader.
Yes.
How come we are still grappling with serious counterfeit challenges?
You see, counterfeiting is quite an avenue that is being perceived by most people. But first of all, the baseline of counterfeiting is the brand owners themselves. The approach of the approach of counterfeiting must be, there is a need for us to create awareness in terms of our manufacturing sector, in terms of the brand owners to know that there is counterfeiting of their product in the market. Secondly, if you look at the issue of our borders, quite a number of our borders are porous. We are not able to effectively manage the porous borders, which is mostly used for smuggling counterfeit goods into the market. Thirdly, we have also a challenge in terms of our port, whereby we are supposed to man and we are supposed to know what is coming in, but unfortunately we are not at the port as an anti-counterfeit authority because of the circular that was released in 2019. So we are still trying to find our footing in terms of how best we can be able to entrench ourselves along the entry points and at the port to ensure that we are effectively dealing with counterfeit. Those are challenges that can be found within. But at the same time, we have a quite diverse way of dealing with it because we have also automated our system in terms of recordation. We are also using customer software, which is called Blip, to ensure that we get intelligence that is goods that are in the market. So we have tried to diverse very many ways of dealing with counterfeiting in the country. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you have said that we lose about 120 billion shillings annually.
Yes.
Apart from that,
yes,
how does counterfeiting affect local manufacturers as well as innovation?
You see, the starting point of counterfeiting is the liberalization. And globalization is also one of the issues that is affecting all of us. So the issue of liberalization, where we allow goods to come in, there is issues of competition. Goods are coming in through affect all of us globally, and also the money that is being used or by the organized crime can be used for other activities that are illicit in terms of criminal activities. So we are trying to see that the local manufacturers are not heavily affected in terms of counterfeiting. And that's an assurance that we can give to the public of the country that the local manufacturers are not affected as such, but we are trying to ensure that if there's any incidences where the local manufacturers have been affected, we are at the forefront, working closely with Kenya Association of Manufacturers and other partners to ensure that there is no counterfeiting that is done locally. What happens is that most of the scrupulous people, like for example, the most non-counterfeited activities is alcohol that is being counterfeited. Now, what happens in the alcohol sector is that there are people who are manufacturing in their residential areas, and they are supplying their supply chain, which we are effectively dealing with together with the DCI and other entities. However, we are at the forefront in terms of ensuring that we minimize the issues of counterfeiting locally at all levels.
And of course that calls for multi-agency approach. And you've talked about that earlier on, talking about partnering with various agencies to curb counterfeit. But we have seen, let's say, proliferation of this counterfeit. We have seen fake KEBS excise stamp in the public domain being used to ensure that these counterfeit products access the market. From where you sit, how are you dealing with that? With, of course, with KEBS involved and KRA.
Definitely, that's the approach we are taking is the multi-agency approach. And you see, the perception of the public outside is that everything is counterfeit. But there are quite a number of areas that we need to look at. We need to differentiate between substandard products, if it is there. We need to know what the limitations in terms of what is counterfeiting, because counterfeiting is mostly about imitation or copying. You must be copying somebody's product, which is known. And the source must be known that you are counterfeiting or you are imitating product A. But if it is substandard, it deals with quality issues, which people mostly now compound it as counterfeit also. Similarly, there is an accustomed goods that is coming through the smuggled product, which is not taxed. That is also being termed as counterfeit. In general public view, it is known as counterfeit or fake. So there is quite a lot of might in terms of what is this counterfeiting. You see, we can only deal with counterfeiting when we have the brand owners on board, because it is the brand owners who are able to give us information that their products are being counterfeited. Without the brand owners on board, then the limitations of something being branded counterfeit becomes quite unique in terms of identification. So what we are trying to look at is how best can we create awareness or create the education to the public to differentiate between product A being counterfeit, product B being substandard, product C being accustomed, and so forth. Because that is the essence of us understanding the compound word of the word counterfeit.
So what should they look out for?
They should look out for, one, is that once they have an item that they suspect to be fake or counterfeit, they should look out for the brand name. And you see, a product has got quite a number of IP forms. And what I'm saying about IP form is that the design of the product, like for example, I want to take this example of a water. This product has got quite different form of IP, which can be counterfeited. The name Quincha can be counterfeited. Somebody can use the name Quincha to say that it is from the quencher product, but which we know that he is doing it at his residential place. The shape of this bottle is protected. So if somebody uses this shape, which is being protected, is also a sort of a counterfeiting. Okay. You can also counterfeit the artistic appearance of this product. So in counterfeiting, we have got different form of infringement that we are looking out for. So it is not about only the trademark. We are looking about the industrial design. We are looking about the copyright issues. We are looking out for so many other aspects. Geographical indications can also be is an IP form, whereby, for example, you can say that Ketepa as a tea is being manufactured at Kericho because of the uniqueness of the area. So if somebody else uses Ketepa, it can be now a geographical indication also, despite the fact that the Ketepa is trademark. So there's different form of IP that we are looking out for, not only the name. So I think the issue of counterfeiting is quite unique, and we appreciate that the Kenyans public require or deserve to be given their fair share of a genuine aspect, right. Genuine product. Okay. So we are on the watch out. We are their watchdog. Okay. The assurance is that we are looking out for any information that you have in terms of counterfeiting. You can reach out to us or any other agencies. Right. We are here to work closely.
And of course, that calls for technology, and you had mentioned earlier on you have the latest technology, but we'll come back to that. Yes. But first we want to head to where Justice Lawrence Mugambi is giving his ruling on the IEBC nominees straight to the courts.
Although the jurisprudential value of the decision of a bench would not override that of a single judge of the same court. Although the present petition can be heard by a single judge of this court, and also being fully aware that a bench would sometimes require resources, both personnel and financial, as well as more time to resolve a petition than if it were heard by a single judge, the present petition is the kind of petition that this court should exercise its discretion in favor of an expanded bench due to public importance and significance in our constitutional democracy. The issues sought to be decided are not mere questions of law, they are substantial questions of law, and their resolution will have a material bearing on the first respondent's decision to arrest and prosecute the petitioner and the independence of the judiciary. End of quote. Correspondingly, the court in National Alliance NASA versus Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission held as follows. The only constitutional provision that expressly permits the constitution of a bench of more than one high court judge is Article 165, which requires that for the matter to be referred to the Chief Justice under the same provision, the High Court must certify that the matter raises a substantial question of law. In my view, the determination of such issues is a judicial one. The court is obliged either on its own motion or on application of the parties to the cause to identify the issues which, in its view, raise substantial questions of law. End of quote. To this end, the upshot is that the petitioners have satisfied the threshold for a grant of conservatory orders. I also find that it is satisfied the requisite condition under Article 165(4) of the Constitution. I thus make the following orders. That pending the hearing and termination of this petition, a conservatory order is hereby issued forbidding and or preventing the gazettement, taking of oath, or assuming of office by the interested parties, namely Erastus Edung Ethekon, Anne Jerin Deritu, Moses Altara Mukwana, Mary Karen Sorobit, Hassan Nur Hassan, Francis Odhiambo Odwol, Fahima Haravat Abdara, or any other person or persons as the chairman or commissioners of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. For avoidance of doubt, the vetting and approval process in the National Assembly may proceed, but subject to this order. B. This file is hereby forwarded to the Chief Justice for empanelment of an even number of judges to hear and determine the petition pursuant to the provisions of Article 165(4) of the Constitution. Costs shall be in the course. So that is the end of my ruling. So you will have to await directions from the Deputy Registrar once the bench is constituted.
On the IEBC nominees, Justice Lawrence Mugambi there giving his ruling, and of course our reporter is on standby to come and break down for us what that ruling means for us as Kenyans as we look out for the IEBC nominees. It will be presented before, or rather we'll be talking about it later on once we are done with this conversation that we are having in studio regarding the anti-counterfeit or rather enforcement of the anti-counterfeit rules, as well as ensuring that we ensure that the latest technology is there to monitor and detect counterfeits. And picking up from where we left, Mr. Ahmed, we are talking about detecting counterfeit with the latest technology. Yes. And you mentioned earlier on that you have deployed technology that can be able to detect this counterfeit. But then again, we see an evolving sector, the digital platforms. Yes. How is this technology being used to ensure that we are checking this fix online?
First of all, I want to just to give you a highlight in terms of the technology that we are using to combat counterfeit. Okay. As Anti-Counterfeit Authority, we have developed a system called recordation, which we are able to monitor all the imports into our country through our system. We are able to know the types of the brand name that they are being used. It's mandatory for them to declare the brand name. And we have recordals with the IP rights that will be able to supplement in terms of referrals of whether the imported party is legit or not legit. So that system is quite helpful in terms of us trying to do what we call profiling and targeting of suspected counterfeit. As you know, the operations in terms of the imports is that we are here also to facilitate trade. So there's a balancing act in terms of combating counterfeit and facilitating of trades. Therefore, what we are trying to develop is that we have a database that we are checking on, and we are also to profile the goods that are coming in. So as we profile, we are able to know the trend of the goods that is coming in, the persons who are bringing in the products, and their chain of supply. So we are trying to break it down so that whenever we are suspecting, we now raise the alarm or the flag to ensure that the product is being, or the container or the consignment is being verified. Okay,
but so where do you draw the line between facilitating trade and fighting anti-counterfeit?
Of course,
fighting counterfeit. Of
course, what we are trying to do is that we want to ensure the smooth flow of the product, but it should be legit. Okay. So we are trying to look at, through our system, we are trying to profile and target the specific trend of a certain product and the importers, so that once we find that this is suspicious consignment, we now try to intervene and target this consignment for the purpose of ensuring that we are not being viewed as harassing any trader or trying to disrupt the port operation or trying to disrupt the facilitation of trade. We had that obligation to ensure that there is a free flow of goods that are legit. So we are trying to balance how we are able to get those targeted consignment to be verified and to allow the legit products. As I've said also, there is a trend of online counterfeiting that has been going on. This one, I think what we are trying to look at is that we have a sector in terms of officers who are able to profile the sites that are being used. Nowadays, I think Kenyans are also very clever. They are quite using a lot of technology in terms of their own phone, WhatsApp. You will see a lot of people advertising their product through the social media and so forth. So we are trying to look at those platforms, the social media platform. We have got the main platforms such as Jumia. We have been collaborating with them. We are trying to ensure that whatever they upload into their system is legit through them having some agreement with their traders that they are able to sign some document to show that whatever they are uploading, they will take responsibility if it is counterfeit. So we have worked closely with them. We had that MOU that they should be able to watch out for those products through their system. So we are trying to put measures in place in all sectors. And as you know, the digital platform is so vast, and we had our own challenges in terms of personnel, in terms of scarcity of resources. We are not able to reach it out to all, but we are trying our best to ensure that we implement. And we have also an MOU with the Communication Authority in terms of the website that are using to advertise counterfeit product. Once we find it out, we are able to track them down and pull them down through the Communication Authority. So we are using so many measures to ensure that Kenyans are safe from counterfeit products.
Okay.
Yes.
According to the 2024 National Consumer Level Survey,
yes,
you are the ones who did it.
Yes.
The counterfeit ecosystem has mutated into a complex network of
yes.
vendors, retailers, even supermarkets.
Yes.
How is the Anti-Counterfeit Authority countering this tide?
Counterfeit Authority is countering the aspect of retail trade through what we call random inspections. We have officers who normally go out for random inspection in the designated or informations from different sectors. Like, for example, if we have information on goods that are being sold in the supermarket, we normally do the physical random verification, that market surveillance. We also do market surveillance. And the aspect of us having a complaint from the public is a very vital component for us, because without having information from the public, we are not able to go out there. And again, Wairimu, you can understand the dynamics in this country. The small-scale traders, quite a number of times we have been in the streets, having security issues. Our officers are mobbed out in terms of conducting the inspection and doing the enforcement. So we are supposed to ensure that we are systematic in terms of our operations. And from January up to date, we have been carrying out what we call a Rapid Result Initiative, an RRI. And I can assure you that in that RRI, we have prioritized what we call health and safety issues. We have prioritized the issue of spare parts because of the issues of accidents that's happening across. We have prioritized the issue of fertilizers because of the food security. We have prioritized the issue of cosmetics and detergents. All these are affecting health and safety of our consumers. So we have nabbed almost around 300 million of goods worth between January this year up to date.
Okay.
And that's tremendous in terms of the fertilizer that we have seized in quite a number of areas, and I know in the media we have seen it. So we are trying to ensure that whatever enforcement strategy that we are using, we are trying to prioritize the issue of health and safety. And that's what we have been doing, and we shall continue doing it. And we are very happy that the results are quite tremendous. We have got quite a number of brand owners and brand agents that are on board. We are working closely with them, a number of them. So we are very strategic in terms of our operations.
Okay.
Yes.
Earlier on, and you mentioned the value of the goods you have nabbed, 300 million. But earlier on, you talked about digital platforms and flagging off websites that are selling counterfeit goods. In partnership with the Communication Authority. Like in the last, is this data captured when it comes to flagging off, so that they do not go ahead and create another new website and still continue with this vice?
Definitely, I think the process of pulling down website is quite tedious, and you cannot stop someone not to create another one. But whenever we have that suspicious platform that's coming up, we shall be able to pull them down. But the problem is, again, how do you identify the faces behind it? So those are things that we are working on, because the people who are behind it must be scrupulous people who are trying to deceive the Kenyans. So we are pulling it down initially, and now we are looking for further information to know who are the people behind the system. So we are able to now move forward and using the DCIs, the cybercrime units, and so forth.
Okay,
so
as we come to a close, is public health part of consumer protection, given that the pharmaceutical industry is also infiltrated?
Of course, the multi-agency perspective is that we are trying to enshrine all the agencies that are relevantly working closely with us in terms of issues of counterfeiting. Like, for example, the Pharmacy and Poison Board is part of the entities that we are working closely with them. We have done quite a number of operations with them, and we have nabbed a counterfeit vaccine in Mombasa. These are things that are not in the public domain, but we are working out closely with them in terms of any pharmaceutical products. We are also working on lifestyle drugs or weight loss drugs that we are getting information, and we have worked on it. We have seized them. So these are things that are happening behind the scenes. We are working with relevant our relevant entities. If it is about drugs, we are supposed to work closely with Public Pharmacy and Poison Board. We are supposed to work with public health, as we have said. We have got also issues of expiry of products. So we are working together with all other entities that are relevant in terms of fighting counterfeit.
All right, my director is on my case to close the conversation. But before I let you go, the traditional methods like market raids, I'm so sure you must be supplementing it with war on the digital or rather on the digital level.
Definitely.
Yes. How has been that? How has it been?
I think the conventional method is now running out of steam, and everybody is moving toward the digital aspect. And anti-counterfeit is not left behind in that, because we are working closely, partnering with the anti-counterfeit unit in Uganda, who have come up with a consumer software where we are able to identify a counterfeit product in the market. We can use the QR code and so forth, and we now give that information that has been announced to different entities. If it is a counterfeit issue, counterfeit agency is being given that information. If it is a substandard issue, it is given to KEPS. If it is issues of pharmaceutical, it's given to So that software is called Blip. So we are working closely with them to have Blip Kenya, because now there's Blip Uganda. So we have Blip Kenya so that we can be able to have that information that is available for the consumers to report, so that we can be able to gather that information and action it, so that we can be able to use that platform. Consumers are not left behind.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to our studios.
Thank you very much.
This is a broad conversation. We cannot exhaust it within an hour, but we'll invite you again in our studios, and we can, of course, continue with where we have left off. That is Yusuf Ahmed, Director of Enforcement at Anti-Counterfeit Authority, talking to us about this pressing issue on counterfeit goods, and also sharing with us how you can be able to know between substandard goods and counterfeit goods. And this is a conversation you need to be involved in as Kenyans. We put a cap on Business Check this morning. I don't know whether it's already in the afternoon, but I'll leave you in the hands of Achola Simon, who is in Homa Bay, and he's the one covering the Blue Economy Conference, and we will go right there. There we go. And the theme of this conference is our waters, our health. Blue Economy Summit, right there on your screen.
To take the program far. To the bad boy CS of mining, to our Governor, Honorable Gladys Yasunawanga, to the PS, all the leaders of protocol observe. God is good, and all the time I've been given 1 minute, and with that 1 minute, let me request to say one thing in Luo and one in English. In Luo, Jothurwa untie, Umar, Uil, Uchich, Uchek, Amilo Belochek. Jothurwa, Gimadwa wacho Luo, Maduong kabisa. Madam Pierce, just stand up. Please, Madam Mariatu, please stand up. Jothurwa, Mariatu nitaywago nikech aneno korwako gimoro e lwete. Ber to ber ndi kata koneno, pok wero lando. Tich botiyo maber. Nyakoni to onge gimoro e lwete. Ndisruok bondisore. Koloko ng'eto uneno anena kanyo. Uneno kosok une. Nituwe madhi adhiya gi tich magitiyo maber. Uweyo dhi kosok uwe. Uweyo. Sekwa neni katamo jomoko gin ka wadhi gombeta. Thank you. Bwana CS. What I have said is the two ladies are doing an amazing job and we appreciate. That is what I've said in Kijaluo. That is the correct interpretation. Then the last thing that I want to now say in English, that fishing has immense potential. Coming from a fishing area in Subanot, Honorable CS, we are talking with you outside here. This is the gold that Kenya needs. Fishing has immense potential. If we invest in fishing, then all the problems we're having in this country will be a thing of the past. Finally, the only other thing I want to say is God is an amazing God. I was born and raised in this small town, no Yike town. Bwana CS, hata ukiona saa hii nimekuwa bad girl, and I'm as beautiful and as intelligent as I am. I was born and raised in this town. We used to come to this place. This town only had there are 3 TVs. One was at the DC's residence, so we couldn't go. The other one was at the police station, and we feared the police, we couldn't go. This was the Farmers Training Center. So all of us in this town used to watch one TV here. How amazing that the place we used to watch TV has become a university. I'm telling you, where there is determination, a lot will change. And the way I'm seeing the county is determined in moving forward. It's a county of endless potential. And the way I'm seeing that we're working together with the government to bring about change, I can only see better things for Homa Bay. Let me take this opportunity to call the Tafadhali, Honorable Magwanga. Thank you.
Thank you so much. To Your Excellency, the Governor for Homa Bay, the CS, a former colleague, and now also a former deputy party leader, the principal secretary is present, the entire delegates, including the members of parliament of this region. I'll not exclude the women rep. Good morning. Good morning. I just want to be so brief. To Homa Bay County. You have really worked with us so closely. You have supported us so much, and we must appreciate that. And that is actually what is key. Yesterday when I was here, I did mention research and development, that since we have our only university in Homa Bay, this Tomboya University to be as our research and development center for this region. It would be key to embrace other species of fish which has high value. That is actually so key for us. And all the monies for research, Honorable Waziri, should actually be channeled to this institution. Another very, very important thing or aspect is, because this is our lifeline, we must conclude the Lake Victoria Ring Road for easy access to all the beaches within the region, so that, because fish is perishable, so that the fish can reach to the market. And then we have also another aspect that is actually so key for us, which we have to look at: refrigeration, because this fish must actually have some cooling systems to enable this fish to reach to our market. So we look at the entire fish value chain, which will create employment opportunities to our young people. Just as I said yesterday, but we faced it when it came to the finance bill. So we don't want to face that issue this June, which is coming just 2 days time. Lastly, I don't want to take a lot of time. Given that the national government has supported us to have the pier here, so the number of ships will be docking. So we have to look at other piers within the region. And as we do that, the freshwater lake, the entire world are in competition of fresh water all over the world. So this is actually the second biggest fresh water lake. We had the 1959 treaty, which should be relooked into so that we can utilize it to supplement the fishing, the blue economy, and others, including agriculture and livestock within the region. So with all that, I beg that we are going to network, collaborate, work very closely, hand in hand, to ensure that there is a huge impact within this region. I only have one thing to do, because it is my humble duty to invite Your Excellency to come and say something.
Thank you very much, Excellency Deputy Governor, Excellency CS Hassan Ali Joho, the leadership that is present here, private sector partners, our BMUs. Good morning. And because CS, we spoke here yesterday, and we have a very busy day because we also have His Excellency the President arriving in Homa Bay just this afternoon, and we have to go to different places. I will not say much. I'll introduce the first gentleman, my husband, Mr. Wanga, who's also a fisherman formerly.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima,
tutamfuga inzi chuma kisha tumlishe kwa kuku.
Tutaelekea huko JKUAT katika kitengo cha wadudu